I spent $1,000 on this locker because I just had to have that pink scooter.
A door slams, a gavel hits, and just like that, the bid is final, but behind the lockers were secrets no one saw coming. One cast member vanished from the spotlight, another spiraled after a shocking scandal, and someone faced a life-threatening illness. But did they survive? And one story doesn't have an ending. They once fought for abandoned storage units, but what they lost off camera was far more valuable. What really happened after the show ended? Who made it out rich? And who paid the ultimate price? This isn't just nostalgia. It's the untold fallout of reality television fame. And trust me, with Storage Wars, you're not ready for how it all ends. Okay, let's rewind for a second. A dusty storage unit. The lock gets cut, the doors creak open, and a crowd of hungry bidders holds their breath wondering what's inside. Trash, or maybe treasure worth six figures. And that exact moment of high-stakes gamble is what turns Storage Wars into one of the most addictive reality television shows of the last decade. Premiering in 2010 on A&E, Storage Wars was like the Wild West of reality television. The concept was deceptively simple, but yet so genius. Basically, auctioneers Dan and Laura Dotson led a crew of sharp-tongued, larger-than-life buyers who battled it out for abandoned storage lockers. No one could open a unit beforehand. They could only peek from the outside, and that's where the drama started. The show mixed tension, treasure, and trash in just the right proportions, and it became a household favorite. But here's the real plot twist. It wasn't just about storage lockers. The cast brought the show to life with their bold and unforgettable personalities. There was the trash-talking villain, the laid-back collector everyone loved, the on-again, off-again couple, and a rotating lineup of quirky newcomers that kept things exciting. Storage Wars was reality television gold because it had everything we love: drama, money, betrayal, big comebacks, and even a few unexpected tears. Now, was the show a hit? Definitely. In its heyday, Storage Wars pulled in millions of viewers per episode. It spawned spin-offs like Storage Wars, Texas, Storage Wars, New York, and even international adaptations. Fans couldn't get enough of the thrill. The show ran for over a decade, with 15 official seasons and a wild ride of cast changes, lawsuits, and real-life chaos along the way. But it wasn't always smooth sailing behind the scenes. In fact, drama spilled off-screen more than once. From Dave Hester's infamous lawsuit, where he exposed the show, to personal tragedies, health scares, and explosive relationship breakups, there was no shortage of headline-worthy chaos. Just when fans thought the story had ended, boom, a plot twist we didn't see coming. On March 5th, 2025, A&E dropped the bombshell, announcing that Storage Wars is officially returning for a 16th season after years of speculation. While we don't know exactly who's returning to the cast or what kind of juicy drama will unfold, one thing is clear: the fans are ready. Reddit is buzzing. TikTok throwback clips are racking up millions of views. And the big question everyone's asking is, where are they now? Because while the storage units may have been silent, the cast members' lives have been anything but quiet. So buckle up, because we're diving deep into the wild, unpredictable, sometimes heartbreaking, sometimes inspiring lives of the Storage Wars cast. Chapter 2, Barry Weiss. Number 10, Barry Weiss, The Collector's Journey. If there's one person from Storage Wars who effortlessly stole the spotlight without ever raising his voice or throwing a tantrum, it's Barry Weiss. Fans knew him as the Collector, but Barry wasn't just collecting antiques or hidden gems. He was collecting moments, personality points, and legions of fans who tuned in just to see what he'd wear, say, or drive next. Unlike most of his castmates, Barry didn't need to prove himself with aggressive bidding or trash talk, because he had something far more powerful, which was his charm and style. Whether he rolled up in a vintage Cadillac, a tricked-out hot rod, or something you'd expect to see in a James Bond movie, Barry always made an entrance. His cool, calm demeanor and dry wit set him apart in a show that naturally thrived on chaos. While others were yelling over old furniture, Barry was cracking jokes and casually pulling priceless finds out of dusty boxes, and fans ate it up. Despite being a fan favorite, Barry left Storage Wars after just 4 seasons, but not because he couldn't keep up, Barry simply didn't need the spotlight. He'd already lived a full life even before the cameras showed up. A lifelong antiques enthusiast with deep industry roots, Barry joined a show more as a favor than a career move. But once he was on screen, audiences couldn't get enough. His departure left a noticeable void in the show's energy, but it also added to his mystique because everyone wondered where Barry went and what he was doing. Then, in 2019, fans got a shocking answer. News broke that Barry had been in a serious motorcycle accident where he'd been struck by a car while riding through Los Feliz, California, and suffered major injuries, including broken bones and internal damage. For weeks, updates were scarce, causing rumors to circulate. Some fans feared the worst, but in true Barry fashion, he made his comeback with the same quiet cool he'd always carried. After spending months recovering, undergoing multiple surgeries, and taking time away from the public eye, Barry reemerged older, maybe, but still very much Barry. Since then, he hasn't jumped back into reality television, but that doesn't mean he's disappeared. Barry found passion in a new kind of spotlight. He became a brand ambassador for Sherwood Valley Casino in California, which was a fitting gig. Flashy, high stakes, and just the right amount of showbiz without the chaos of a reality set. He's also lent his voice to narration and commercial work, proving that even off-camera, he knows how to command attention. What makes Barry Weiss's journey so compelling is that he's never tried to be a star. He just is one. His story isn't about chasing fame or reviving a career. It's about doing things on his own terms, staying true to who he is, and somehow managing to be both completely low-key and totally unforgettable at the same time. For fans of Storage Wars, Barry wasn't just the collector of collectibles. He was the collector of cool, and honestly, to date, he still is. But just when you think you've seen every kind of bidder, wait until you meet the duo who turned thrifting into an obsession and made fashion the fiercest game in town. Number 9. Edwina Registre and Shauna DeHaan, the Thrifters. When Edwina Registre and Shauna DeHaan stepped onto the Storage Wars scene in Season 11, they weren't just new faces, they were a total vibe shift. These two brought something completely different to the show's usual mix of intense bidding wars and locker room bravado. They were stylish, strategic, and so in sync, it was like watching a well-rehearsed duet. But what most people didn't know was that their chemistry didn't just come from the screen, it went way back. Edwina and Shauna met in high school as viola players in the orchestra and bonded over something most teens overlooked, which was a love for thrifting. So while their peers were hitting them all, these two were combing through racks at second-hand shops, turning what most would call junk into pure fashion gold. That early bond over vintage finds eventually became a lifelong passion and a brand called Thrifters Anonymous. Their appearance on Storage Wars gave fans a glimpse into their world. Yes, they were bidding on storage units, but their real strength was in the way they saw value where others didn't. Most buyers were searching for antiques or collectibles. However, Edwina and Shauna had their eyes peeled for fashion treasures, rare pieces, and unique finds that could be flipped into wearable statements, making them not just buyers but curators. After their time on the show, they didn't fade into the background like some reality television stars do. Instead, they doubled down on what made them stand out. Their platform, Thrifters Anonymous. Their YouTube channel became a home for their creative energy, showcasing everything from thrift hauls and style transformations to travel vlogs and candid chats. What makes their story so compelling is how natural it all feels. There's no forced image or overproduced content. It's just two best friends who turned a shared passion into something that resonated far beyond their living rooms. Whether the $5 blazer or a life lesson on confidence, Edwina and Shauna have built a following that's loyal not just because of what they wear, but because of who they are. Professionally, they both worked as insurance brokers, a fact that not a lot of fans are aware of. Their journey proves that you don't need to win every auction to win hearts. Sometimes, all it takes is a thrift store, a little imagination, and a best friend who sees the sparkle in the same dusty corner of the world that you do. Chapter 3. The Auctioneering Duo. Number 8. Dan and Laura Dotson, the Auctioneering Duo. If Storage Wars had a heartbeat, it was Dan and Laura Dotson. These two didn't just host the auctions, they were the auction. Dan's lightning-fast calling and Laura's sharp-eyed support created a rhythm that kept the show alive and crackling with energy. Their chemistry on the auction block was so natural, so synced up, it was like watching a well-oiled machine. But unlike many reality show pairs, Dan and Laura weren't just co-workers. They were the real deal, a real-life married couple with decades of auctioneering experience under their belts. Dan had been calling auctions since he was 11 years old, and Laura joined him not long after they met and became the queen of the auction circuit in her own right. On Storage Wars, Dan ran the mic while Laura worked the crowd, keeping the pace snappy and the bids rolling in. Their dynamic wasn't just entertaining. It was electric, and you could feel the tension build as Dan's voice climbed and Laura locked eyes with a bidder, ready to close a deal. So viewers weren't just tuning in for the lockers, they were also tuned in for them. Off camera, though, Dan and Laura were doing a lot more than just starring on a television show. They built a legit empire with their company, American Auctioneers, and what started as a small family business grew into a powerhouse that handles everything from estate sales to storage units across California and beyond. But they didn't stop there. They also launched StorageAuctions.net, an online hub where storage facilities and bidders can connect digitally. So even if you're nowhere near a live auction, you would still be able to join the action. The best part of it all was they never stepped away from the grind. Even after Storage Wars took a break, the Dotsons stayed booked and busy, and when the show made its big return for season 15, there they were, just like old times. Laura with her iconic line, "Don't forget to pay the lady," and Dan commanding the room like it was 2010 all over again. Their return wasn't just a throwback, but a reminder that the legends never really left. And while many of the show stars had their fair share of off-screen drama, Dan and Laura kept things solid. They've gone through tough times, most notably when Dan suffered a double brain aneurysm back in 2014, one behind his eye and another in his neck. Laura was by his side through the entire ordeal, proving once again that their bond goes way beyond the auction block. At this point, Dan and Laura Dotson aren't just reality television personalities, they're industry icons. They've turned fast-talking and sharp instincts into a lasting legacy, showing fans and fellow auctioneers what real hustle looks like. And whether they're on television or behind the scenes running their businesses, one thing's for sure: the Dotsons still run the show. Chapter 4. Mary Padian, The Junkster's Adventures. Mary Padian, also known as the Junkster, captured hearts on the show with her unique blend of creativity and quirkiness, which made her a standout. If you watch the show, you know she wasn't just about bidding on storage units full of forgotten treasures. She's the kind of person who sees potential in a pile of discarded junk, and that's where Mary's genius really shines. Whether it's turning an old, beat-up piece of furniture into a statement piece or repurposing random odds and ends into something completely new, she's got an eye for transforming what others see as trash into treasure. But what makes Mary even more fascinating is the way she's managed to parlay her love for junk into an entire brand and a life that's full of meaning beyond just the hunt for hidden treasures. Since leaving Storage Wars, Mary hasn't slowed down one bit. In fact, she's turned her passion for upcycling into a thriving business called Mary's Finds, and the name says it all. It isn't just any business. It's a reflection of her personality. It's all about finding those forgotten pieces that still have something left to give and giving them a second chance. From vintage furniture to old-school knickknacks, Mary knows how to spot something with potential, and she's built a loyal following of people who love what she does. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Mary did not just own a business. She was also a philanthropist who was constantly involved in giving back. So it's no surprise that Mary's got such a loyal following. People respect her not only for her talent and business savvy, but also for the kind of person she is off camera. She's built a life that reflects her values: hard work, creativity, and a genuine desire to make a difference. Chapter 5. Dave Hester, The Mogul Story. The man, the myth, the legend, and yes, the one who made YUUP a phrase you couldn't forget. When Storage Wars first aired, it didn't take long for viewers to notice him. His bold attitude and unmistakable confidence quickly made him a standout on the show. But while the series was pulling in huge audiences, Dave wasn't in it just for fame. Sure, he loved the adrenaline of auctions, the intense bidding wars, and the chance to uncover hidden treasures. But he always had his sights set on something bigger than just being a television personality. With a sharp eye for valuable items and a no-nonsense business mindset, he became one of the most successful figures in the storage auction world. However, Dave's journey isn't just about wins and big finds. It's also a tale filled with controversy and legal drama, including a very public clash with Storage Wars itself. In 2012, Dave filed a lawsuit against A&E, the network behind Storage Wars, claiming the show was rigged. According to him, the producers planted valuable items in the storage units to make the show more exciting and to boost ratings. It was a bold claim that caught the attention of fans and the media alike. While the legal battle played out, the drama surrounding it became as much of a spectacle as the show itself. Eventually, Dave's lawsuit was dismissed, but it definitely left a lasting mark on his relationship with the show and its fans. But Dave didn't let the drama slow him down. After leaving Storage Wars, Dave didn't disappear from the spotlight.